Question: what is the best Batman movie? And wrong, sorry, it's Batman Returns. Yeah, I know you had that Dark Knight poster in your bedroom, and alright, Heath Ledger was incredible, but that was just a Christopher Nolan movie in a rubber suit. The best Batman film, as in the film that best captures that quintessential Batmanness, is Batman Returns. You want to get sore about that? Here is my Twitter. With it being shot in the 90s, cinema didn't quite yet have its modern erection for the intricate world building and devious Easter eggs that now litter most major Hollywood offerings. However, what this film did have was Tim Burton, a man who so richly weaves the visual medium to his stories that there's always enough going on to necessitate a serious rewatch. And when you do, you will be astonished at the incredible details that have been hiding in plain sight for nearly 30 years now. My name is Adam Cleary, and these are 20 things you somehow missed in Batman Returns. Number 20, Max Schreck's photo wall. Now, this is either a fun little prop or Hollywood's most impressive piece of foreshadowing in all of movie history. I'll let you decide. Surrounding a portrait of Max Schreck and his son, the billionaire's lavish conference room contains a host of photos of him alongside notable public figures and celebrities. He's posed with Elvis Presley and some other people we'll get to later, but wait a minute, is that Dr. Victor Fries as played by Arnold Schwarzenegger? I mean, no, it's just normal Arnold Schwarzenegger, but if this was the MCU, they would absolutely spin that out as intentional. Number 19, Jordans. Absolutely no self-respecting film of the 90s would be complete without a scintillating piece of product placement, but Batman Returns retains some respectability for how subtly done theirs was. Now, while those look like some heavy-duty boots on the Batsuit, they're actually just a pair of Air Jordan 9s, with some kick pads placed over the top. And that is a missed marketing opportunity if ever I have seen one. Number 18, casting a shadow. Prior to her transformation into Catwoman herself, we're given an early look at Selina Kyle when she is sat at her desk in Shrek's office. It's not exactly deftly executed, this one, but through the lens of her glasses, a lamp casts a very deliberate shadow across her face. While bearing no resemblance to her costume in this movie, that shadow is an homage to the iconic cat's eye mask worn by Catwoman in the original DC comic series, as well as the 1960s TV show. Number 17, Good Kitty. Oh, and if you were wondering how on earth the filmmakers managed to control the horde of cats descending on Kyle after she's pushed out of the window, given that, you know, the phrase herding cats exists for a reason, they literally just covered Michelle Pfeiffer in tuna before she lay down. So, the more you know. Number 16, The Weimar Republic. One for the history buffs out there, this film contains several major motifs relating to Germany's Weimar Republic era between the First and Second World Wars. First of all, the Penguin's iconic costume and a load of the set design is inspired by Dr. Caligari from the movie The Cabinet of Dr. Caligari. Christopher Walken's character of Max Schreck is taken directly from the real-life Max Schreck, the dude who played Nosferatu, who was a huge star of the films of that era. And finally, Schreck himself suggests to the Penguin that he create a Reichstag fire, which was the terrorist act which the Nazi Party used as a pretext to seize power at the end of that movement. Now, why all this is in there, I don't know, but there you are. Number 15, The Red Triangle Gang. One thing that's not really addressed in the movie but becomes staggeringly obvious once you're told, did you ever wonder where Cobblepot suddenly manages to get his hands on a villainous troupe of circus performers to do all his evil bidding? Well, that is the Red Triangle Gang, who it's revealed have been operating in Gotham prior to the setting of this movie. Specifically, they have been operating since the end of the previous Batman movie, where, inspired by the clown prince of crime himself, they decide that crime is the real circus in which to perform. Burton was at pains not to make this feel like a direct sequel from the 1989 Batman movie, so left out this little bit of world building, but it's there, it's canon. Number 14, The Monkey. Fairly standard cinematic practice this, but given the obvious comedic possibilities, it's strange that you don't actually see the Penguin and his helper monkey in the same shot when he's collecting the letter. The very simple answer to this one is that Danny DeVito's Penguin makeup was so scary that the monkey refused to go anywhere near him on set. DeVito having to record a single shot wearing just the glove framed from behind on his day off in order to successfully receive this letter. Number 13, The Letter. Oh, and speaking of that exact letter, the handwriting on there isn't from Bruce Wayne. It's not even from Michael Keaton. It's actually written by Bob Kane, one of Batman's original creators. Number 12, Elizabeth Sanders. Oh, and speaking of that exact man, this isn't something you'd have missed at the time, as that's not how time works, but this is an interesting wrinkle of the subsequent 90s Batman movies. The aforementioned Bob Kane was scheduled to appear in the first Batman movie until illness kept him from a cameo. However, his wife, Elizabeth Sanders, does sneak into this one. She's the woman on the news who says the Penguin is a bit more like a frog or something. That one, her there. If she looks familiar to you, that's because her entire acting career just became cameos in Batman movies. You see, as well as appearing here, Joel Schumacher cast her as an outlandish journalist, Gossip Gertie, in both Batman Forever and Batman and Robin. Number 11, their true masks. Shrek's annual Masquerade Ball is an opportunity, we are told, for all of Gotham's high society to wear masks, then also get juiced and dance badly. But for some reason, neither Bruce Wayne nor Selina Kyle attend wearing one. Or do they? You see, the metaphor here is that for Batman and Catwoman, these are their masks, hiding their secret identities behind the faces of two otherwise normal people. Now, yes, alright, as cinematic motifs go, that's probably one of the most basic ones you're ever going to see, but hands up here, I did not notice that on first watch. Number 10, the Joker reference. In a brilliant bit of blink and you'll miss it writing, or whatever the version of blinking is for your ears, don't know, not a doctor, Selina Kyle lifts a line directly from Jack Nicholson's Joker. As they're watching the tree light up, she tells Bruce Wayne it's gonna be a hot time in the cold town tonight. The exact line the Joker used when he electrocuted Anton Rotelli. Number 9, that's a real bird. I could actually do an entire video on the extensive training one bird handler did with the finch in this scene in order to pull off the now famous shot, but the short version is this. Yes, the bird that Michelle Pfeiffer puts in her mouth was A, real, and B, really in her mouth. Long story short, Pfeiffer and Burton thought that a fake bird looked too fake, so the little thing was first trained to be comfortable in closed hands, then an open mouth, and then finally a closed mouth. However, pleased to say that the knife that's held to the cat in retaliation for this was thankfully fake. Number 8, the animated series. If you've ever thought that Batman Returns bears striking visual similarities to the wonderful animated series of the 90s, that's because it does. Warner Brothers, who produced both, insisted on it. Early set designs for the look of the Batcave and Gotham's brutalist architecture were given to the show's animators as they wanted the same feel for both. Now, some inspiration was also taken from the look of both Penguin and Catwoman, but it was decided that they were too scary and or too sexy for a kid's cartoon. I'll let you guess which was which. Number 7, the cigarette holder. A genius callback at this one. When the Penguin is being persuaded to run for mayor, one of Shrek's image consultants places a cigarette holder in his mouth. It's only there for a second or two before it's promptly spat back out. Now cast your mind back to the movie's opening scenes, and none other than Tucker Cobblepot, his father, is seen using a virtually identical cigarette holder. Given that Penguin absolutely detests his parents and everything they stood for, hence his desire to get rid of Gotham's high society, he cannot stand the sight of the thing. Number 6, Vicky Vale. Despite being many years before the internet would tell filmmakers every single tiny little thing they'd done wrong, aren't we all great, there was one element of Burton's first Batman film that got a bit of flack. Specifically, Alfred letting Vicky Vale into the Batcave because, well, Alfred would never do that. Despite not returning for the sequel, Burton did use a mention of her to address this mistake, having Bruce remark sarcastically to Alfred, "Security, who let Vicky Vale into the Batcave?" Which, of course, if it was written today, would be the line, "Wow, seems a bit weird to be getting a lecture on security from the person who let Vicky Vale into the Batcave, but sure, go off." Number 5, the catsuit. Now, I am not a betting man, but I would wager real money that at some point during a Christmas TV screening of this film, your dad has made some sort of remark about Michelle Pfeiffer and her costume that made everyone in the room feel uncomfortable. So next time he's scratching his balls and loudly wondering how they got her into that thing, you can turn around and tell him that she was literally vacuum sealed into it. She would put it on and the remaining air would be sucked out. Now this meant that, well, for one thing, every single time she so much as moved, it was so tight the lining it would rip, so they went through 60 different costumes, but also she could only film for a few minutes at a time before she would pass out. Number 4, That's not very Batman-y. Never totally sure how this one doesn't get mentioned more, but like, Batman's major thing is that he doesn't kill people. He says it all the time. It's what makes him, in my humble opinion, a big dumb nerd. Not here though, as while fighting Penguin's henchmen, Bats grabs a bomb from a clown and sticks it down this man's pants, then twats him down a hole. He blows up, and don't know if you know this, but when you blow up, you die, so he kills him, which is a bit weird. Number 3, the hidden animal motif. Alright, okay, so yes, nobody's missed that Batman's trauma is linked to bats, or that Catwoman's rebirth is very cat-themed, and there are just a lot of penguins in all the scenes with the penguin. You all saw that. The film's 3 central characters are thematically and narratively tied to their animal familiar, but what about the film's 4th central player, Max Schreck? Why doesn't he get one? Well, I love this one. You remember those pictures hanging on his wall that I said we'd get to later? Well, as well as Arnie, he's shaking hands with Frank Sinatra, Dean Martin, and Sammy Davis Jr., collectively known as the Rat Pack. Shrek, with all his political scheming and time in the sewers, who is eventually caught and killed by a cat, is the film's rat. Number 2, the taser to the face. Yeah, speaking of the way he dies, of all the ways to kill off your central villain, a taser to the face is definitely one of the more out there. Given the central theme of attraction, one to the heart might have made sense, or even given the sex appeal of the character, and well, because it was the 90s, Selena Kyle could have just stuck it on his bits. However, the reason why she goes for his face is because in the original drafts of this film, the name Max Schreck was actually Harvey Dent. This finale was to set him up as disfigured and in need of revenge, bringing him back as Two-Face for the 3rd and final movie. Now, for a myriad of reasons, they opted not to do this. They changed Harvey Dent's character to the entirely original Max Schreck, but they left his fate in as it was originally written. Number 1, that's not Catwoman. There are few more perfect closing shots in cinema than this. Having been presumed killed, we see Selena Kyle looking up at the bat signal, giving us hope that she has somehow survived the film's climax and, oh, I don't know, might be back for another one. Except that is not Catwoman. Well, no, sorry, it is, but it's not Michelle Pfeiffer. After test audiences didn't like the character's presumed demise, Burton thought, oh, actually, they might be onto something there, and added this extra scene mere weeks before the movie was due in theaters. On literally the last possible day they were allowed to film. Assembling a crew for a weekend shoot and a suitable double for Pfeiffer cost them $250,000, nearly 5% of the film's entire budget went on this one shot. So there you have it, those are 20 things you somehow missed in Batman Returns, read to you by a man who is still somehow missing how you think The Dark Knight is a better movie. Let us know what you made of it all in the comments below, and of course don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. In the meantime though, thank you so much for watching. I have of course been Adam Cleary, and I'll see you soon. Goodbye.